Last year I uploaded a video about building the T4 shocks with the Hoodie airbag tool, and today we're gonna build on to that video about the shock and springs, and we're gonna talk about spring and the shock oil choices for the T4. So how do you choose which shock oil and what spring to use for certain conditions? And it's fairly simple for the T4. You can limit your options to a few choices only to make your life easier. And today I'm going to explain what myself and the team is using for different conditions. The T4 comes with 450 CST shock oil, which we feel is the best shock oil to use for 90% of the conditions that we race in. However, you can fine-tune the shock oil by going up or down, depending on the race conditions which you're facing. However, the piston, it remains the same mostly. It's the 1.1 millimeter hole, 4-hole piston, which I have here. It's the most used piston, and it's pretty much the only piston you're gonna find yourself using. So we usually stay with the same piston, but we play a little bit with the shock oil depending on what the car is doing. So as I said, it comes with a 450 shock oil, and that's what we usually have as our basic setup. We can go down in shock oil to 400. When you go down in shock oil, you generate a bit more chassis roll. The car will transfer more weight. It will, however, be less reactive, so it will be a bit more forgiving to drive. It will be a bit more forgiving when you drive over a curb or you ride a dot or something like that. It will not be as prone to grip rolling. However, if you go up in shock oil to say 500, the car will generate more reaction. It will be faster in the direction changes. It will, however, heat up the tires faster, so you're more likely to overheat the tires with a heavier shock oil. So you always have to look for the balance between a good grip, good reaction, and tire temperature. So on carpet lately, I've been trying to use heavier shock oil. I've been using 500 for racing on the CRC black carpet. So that's been a good choice for me on high grip carpet. But most of the time, 450 is the way to go, and we either go down to 400 or up to 500. It's usually within that range. Those are the 3 shock oils that you'll need to keep in your pit bag at all times. About rebound, we recommend using the shocks with little or no rebound. The reason for that is that it will give you the most balanced feel on the track. It will be the most forgiving to drive. You can sometimes gain a bit of performance by trying to use rebound, but it's really hard to have it work consistently. For example, if you want the same rebound setting for every run, if you set your shocks to have rebound, you're gonna have to rebuild the shocks all the time. So it's really hard to make it work consistently, and it's not something that I recommend, and it's not really used by the team drivers. So stay with the kit setting of little or no rebound. So about the optional PSS inserts. PSS stands for progressive, so it means that when you mount this little metal sleeve in the shock, it makes the damping progressive. So make sure that you, first of all, that you mount it with a narrow bit to the top. So the idea is that the shock gets progressively hotter as the piston pushes through the sleeve. So make sure you got it the right way. And why are the PSS useful? So the team is mainly using the PSS on the front axle on the current car, and we feel that one of the benefits by using the PSS is that the car won't dive as much over the nose off power, so it stays a bit more level. And also it's equally useful to combat traction rolling on high grip carpet to prevent the car from diving as much over the nose. And it preserves the front tires better, so it keeps the front tire temperature down, so you lower the tire wear, and you can keep the front from pushing as much and maintaining better corner speed on asphalt in hot conditions. And yeah, those are the main benefits of PSS, and it's widely used by the team drivers both on carpet and asphalt. And what you need to remember with the PSS is that the team has been cutting the shock shafts shorter when we use the PSS, and the reason for doing that is that when I'm saying shorter, I mean that we normally run a 90 millimeter shock shaft length. So we cut the shaft 0.5 of a millimeter shorter, and when you do that, you basically you make the piston sit lower in the sleeve. So you'll have a later starting point in the PSS for when it starts. So it's going to be initially softer, and this makes the PSS a little bit less edgy to drive, a bit more forgiving. I'll give you a smoother initial feeling, and that's a really good trick that I can share with you for the PSS. About the spring choice, the kit comes with a 2.5 linear spring all around, and we feel that this is a good spring that's a good all-around spring for both carpet and asphalt, mainly for club racing, for beginners and average drivers. However, if you want to try to squeeze more performance out of your car, we really recommend that you'll upgrade to a stiffer spring or a progressive spring. So, for example, for carpet, the team is using mostly a progressive front spring, the 2.5 to 2.8, with a linear rear spring, so normally a 2.6 rear spring in the rear. And the combination of these two springs makes the car really balanced, with good corner speed and good turn in, and makes it pretty reactive to drive. So that's a really good choice for carpet. I tend to go up in the rear spring for high grip carpet sometimes. For example, for a CRC black carpet, I try to use 2.7 or even 2.8 in the rear sometimes. And this limits the rotation. The car will not rotate as hard over the rear. It will be a little bit more linear to drive, but it will have more forward bite and it will drive more square off the corners. Another spring combo which I would like to recommend for carpet and actually for asphalt as well is to use the hard progressive spring, the 2.5 to 2.8 all around, so both front and rear. And this will work well on lower grip or tracks where you need to lock in the car more. So it will give you better grip all around. It will have a bit less rotation than running the linear rear spring, but it will give you the most grip and the most stable car. So it's really suited for club racing or for tracks with a bit lower grip. And I can really recommend this for beginners or average drivers. And it will give the car the best grip for those kind of conditions. For asphalt racing, it's a bit more complex. There's more options that we use on asphalt. But the springs that I just mentioned, the carpet springs, so to speak, they actually work really well for asphalt as well. So they make the car really linear, forgiving, easy to drive for asphalt, which especially for the stock class is the preferred spring actually for asphalt as well. For modified, I do recommend a linear spring all around usually, 2.7s or even 2.8s all around. Seems to be the best choice, especially when the track temp is higher, when the track's a little bumpy, also when you need the car to be more aggressive in general. So 2.7 or 2.8, we rarely use anything softer than 2.7 on asphalt. A softer spring is usually more forgiving to drive, easier, but not as quick on the lap time. So definitely a stiffer spring is the way to go for the T420 and also for the older T4 cars.